Hi, everyone. I am Gretchyn Bailey, and I am a fellow of the American Academy of Optometry. I am joined today by Nora Lee Cothran, who is also a fellow of the Academy, as well as a glaucoma specialist at the Eye Institute of West Florida and a former intelligence officer in the Air Force. Hi, Nora. Thank you for joining me today.
Hi, Gretchyn.
So today we are going to be talking about stents. This specific study is titled Gel Stent versus Trabeculectomy, the Randomized Multicenter Gold Standard Pathway Study, also called GPS, of effectiveness and safety at 12 months. And this study was conducted by Shabani and colleagues and published in the August 2023 issue of American Journal of Ophthalmology. This prospective randomized parallel group open label multicenter study looked to compare effectiveness and safety of the gel stent to trabeculectomy on open angle glaucoma. Nora, can you tell me, why do glaucoma specialists traditionally consider trabeculectomy the gold standard for treatment?
You know, when it comes to surgical intervention, prior to the advent of all of these MIGs, the main surgical interventions were tubes, shunts, and trabs. And once you install a piece of hardware into the eye, like an actual shunt, that hardware is pretty much there to stay. The trabeculectomy is a little less invasive. It allows the surgeon a little bit more flexibility and modifying their technique and the procedure, especially in the post-operative process, with a potential for what's called reneedling or utilizing a little anti-scarring to try to bring back. Bottom line, it has the potential to lower the patient's eye pressure while preserving the rest of the real estate around the eye for the potential for a future tube or a shunt.
Got it. Now, with this study, I understand that the COVID-19 pandemic affected how the study was conducted. Can you tell me what happened?
Yeah, so the glaucoma community was looking forward to this particular study and especially the outcome. Trabeculectomy has always been the gold standard. And as the enrollment was happening for this TRAB versus this MIG trial, the COVID-19 lockdown happened in March of 2020 and enrollment completely stopped. So the science needed to progress, and those patients that were already enrolled in the trial, having these surgeries done, following them into the future. And the investigators did a small pivot. It's unusual to modify a trial once it has begun, but because of an unprecedented global pandemic, the end value of what was enrolled was actually lower. And so thus a non-inferiority was investigated as a principal outcome.
Understood. How does the gel stent compare in patient outcomes?
So what's really nice is that this is a controlled trabeculectomy. So it's still utilizing the same mechanism of action as a traditional trab. However, this teeny tiny little stent is, I always tell patients, it looks like a little Barbie drinking straw. So if Barbie was drinking a boba, this is what the straw looks like. And there is actually there will be a little tube in the anterior chamber, but the bleb is nice and compact and controlled. The outcome showed that patients' the quality of life indicator scores were much higher in the Zen arm and then in the trab arm. So both the trabeculectomy and the Zen gel stent allowed for a decrease in IOP in a controlled manner, eliminating a heavy amount of the bottle burden than the patients were on before of medications. But quality of life was actually higher in patients that had the Zen gel stent.
So do you think the results of this study will change treatment decisions?
You know, I think that it will. You know, when surgeons have an option of doing something that is minimally invasive and has a little bit more of a controlled outcome when they know that it will actually impact a patient's quality of life, they may elect to lean toward the MIGs versus a traditional trabeculectomy.
Nora, why does this study matter to optometrists?
The study is extremely relevant to optometrists because even though us as optometric physicians are not performing these surgeries, we have a lot of patients in our chair that have had these procedures done. In the past, patients that have had traditional trabs, you lift up the lid and it could look flat and scarred. It could look like bubbles. It could look like grapes. There's so many different presentations of what a trab could look like that it was really unpredictable, even from one eye to the other. If the same surgeon did them, even at this within the same surgical facility, the outcome could look different. When a patient has had a Zen, optometrists need to be aware that the bleb will be small, compact. It will be, smaller than your fingernail, and you may not see it. There will be a tube in the anterior chamber. If you don't look for it, you may not notice it. And so having this kind of unpredictable appearance in the microscope will go by the wayside. If surgeons lean more towards something that is more traditional, you're going to get the same look every single time, but you also need to be aware to know what to look for. And if the patient has had a Zen and the pressure is up in your chair as an optometrist, you don't need to immediately start redumping medications on board unless it's exorbitantly high. Get the patient back to the surgeon, because just like a traditional trabeculectomy, the Zen has the potential to be reneedled with anti-fibrotic medication to bring it back to life. So knowing what you're going to see in the microscope and knowing what to do if the pressure is high is extremely important to our profession.
Nora, thank you so much for your time and for joining me today.
Thank you for the opportunity to talk about glaucoma.